Good evening. My name is NDillard, and I am currently completing my last term at Liberty University. I'm completing my practicum, so I'm super excited. This term, I had the opportunity to complete my practicum at a site that I previously had employment. It is called Rural Model Clinic, and it is geared to servicing individuals that are currently living with HIV and AIDS. And the clinic is located in Albany, Georgia. So I had the opportunity to be able to share my experience and knowledge throughout the practicum, what I've learned, and it was very exciting. So I'm just going to give you all a brief presentation or whatnot over what I did. And so once again, the site is called Rural Model Clinic. It is actually a clinic that sits under the umbrella of Albany Area Primary Healthcare. And Albany Area Primary Healthcare was established in 1979. Currently, it operates 27 clinical sites that include 6 or 7 school-based health centers. It also includes a laboratory and also has an administrative building. And so Rural Model Clinic is also a Ryan White Part C grantee from HRSA. So it is able to service individuals living with HIV and AIDS that do not have health insurance or underinsured, those of that nature. And so on the presentation, you will just see the main part of my practicum was to help launch or initiate a PrEP clinic. And so as you go through the presentation, you will see the efforts that was done during the time that I was there. So on the next slide, this just provides an overview of Rural Model Clinic, and you will hear me say interchangeably Rural Model Clinic or AAPHC. It's all under one umbrella, but it's just easier to say AAPHC. And so some of the services that are provided by Rural Model Clinic include the HIV early intervention, primary care services, behavioral health counseling. It also has nutritional counseling, provide a food pantry for individuals. It also provides transportation for individuals who cannot get to the clinic on time, a clinic for their doctor appointments. And we also service 14 counties, and so the van does pick up in all 14 counties that the clinic services. And the 14 county include all of the Southwest Health District 8-2. The clinic also has an on-site Walgreens pharmacy, and so that is very helpful because in today's society, you do have people still thinking about the negative stigma behind HIV and AIDS. And so with an on-site pharmacy, you have the patients that are able to just go to the clinic right after their appointment or go to the pharmacy right after their appointment and don't have to worry about being stigmatized or talked about. They go to a pharmacy that's out in the community. And so the on-site Walgreens pharmacy does provide services from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. It also helps individuals who cannot pay for their medications through an drug assistance program. The clinic also provides free and confidential HIV testing, and it's done every day from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m., I believe. And so as a previous person who worked at a clinic, one of my job duties was to provide HIV counseling and testing for individuals who would go into the community. We would go to churches or Salvation Armies, the shelters, wherever we were allowed to go and do some of those testing. So that was very great, and I actually love being out in the community, and so I fell in love with that part of my job duty. On the next slide, this is just a quick overview of how many individuals that the Rural Model Clinic does service a year. And so right now it sees about 1,150 consumers or patients annually. About 40% of the population is uninsured. They have about 5,000 to 6,000 encounters annually, and those are unduplicated services. It averages about 8 to 9 monthly new patients. And it does about 500 community testing that are done annually, including a very large testing that is done at their annual health fair that they host every year. And they also do a about two consumer activities that are held quarterly. And in my paper, I go into details about the consumer activities that include a co-ed where patients can come together after hours and just talk about different subjects, such as health insurance. They do vision board parties. They talk about the stigma. It's just an opportunity for them to be able to share their thoughts and feelings as a person who is currently living with HIV/AIDS. So, as I said before, the main object or subject of my practicum was to help initiate or launch a PrEP clinic. And so this will in turn be able to help the clinic overall do better in some of the goals that they set for themselves, as far as increasing their access to prevention and care for individuals, being able to reduce the newly HIV infections, reduce health disparities, as well as develop a stronger coordinated network. And so being able to launch a PrEP clinic will also help those who are at higher risk for being infected with HIV and AIDS. And so what exactly is PrEP? And so PrEP stands for pre-exposure prophylaxis, and it's actually just a daily medication that individuals can take to help reduce the chance of getting HIV. Some of the indicators for PrEP include if you are gay or a male, a transgender person, or anyone who is at high risk for contracting HIV or AIDS, guilt for sex workers, as well as people who inject drugs, who cannot always access clean needles. And it's also used for several discoordinated couples, meaning one couple is positive, one couple is negative. And so those are just some of the indicators that the PrEP pill can be used for. The medication used for PrEP is Truvada. And if those of you who don't know, Truvada is an actual HIV medication that individuals use who are actually HIV positive. And so some of the comprehensive services that the PrEP program will like to include is like the risk reduction counseling. And so before you start PrEP, they will actually educate you on what PrEP exactly is, the risks that you're taking. They also want to see if you are clinically eligible to be able to afford PrEP, and if not, they'll be able to find resources to help the individual do that. They also want to do the STI diagnosis and treatment. So every time you come into the clinic, whether it's 3, 6, 9, 12 months, if you are put on PrEP, they do pregnancy tests, they do STI, STD testing, HIV testing, just to kind of keep up and make sure that you are still okay. They also do adherence counseling, and so once you are on this medication, it's very, very important for you to continue taking this medication as directed, and do not stop this medication abruptly because without prior approval from the provider, because it can have those side effects for it. We also wanted to provide access to male and female condoms. That is one service that the clinic provides in general. There's also always free condoms that the patients will have access to, as well as when they host community events, they always provide condoms. And as always, HIV testing is part of this clinic. And so one of the last slides in the presentation is just an initiative or outline so far that the clinic has come about with providing PrEP for the community. So if you look, you will see it's just a table, and it shows that this from start to finish, or where I was during the practicum site of PrEP. And so you'll see that in October 2017, they had initial training for the providers and navigators on the initiative of PrEP. In December 2017, they had a program pilot that began at a couple of their different clinical sites, as well as 2 of the colleges that they provide services to. In January 2018, one of the first PrEP patients were enrolled, and in April 2018, they currently have 6 patients who are currently enrolled in PrEP. And so either in May or June ongoing, they will have a follow-up about the PrEP program and training so that they can have a full AAPAC network-wide rollout of PrEP. And so that's where I was with my practicum site and where I am today with it so far. So the beginning of PrEP was initiated before I actually started my practicum site, and so I was able to just get some of these slides and information from those who had already started the training. And so insight for my practicum was very, very great. Like I said, it was already a place of previous employment that I was employed with, but I was thankful to have the opportunity to be able to work with them in the initiative of a prep clinic for the Southwest region, because the stigma is still high considering the numbers and statistics that are also in Georgia and United States alone, unfortunately. And so Role Model Clinic and AAPHC will continue its efforts in providing HIV preventive services for individuals who are currently living with HIV and AIDS, and those who are, still exposed or at high risk for contracting HIV and AIDS. And hopefully, as the days and months and years go on, that this prep clinic will be initiated for the Southwest region and grow into something that all of Georgia can adapt as they move forward with this public health initiative. And so once again, I was very, very happy to have the opportunity to go back to a site that I was previously employed with. Oh, one key great thing that they also have, which I included into my paper, is that they had their third annual HIV AIDS Fun Run Walk, and it's an awareness race. This year they were able to do a 5K and a 10K, and it included, I think, about 245 participants that actually participated in the race. And so that is a key highlight for the clinic. And so hopefully ongoing, I can continue to be of service to the clinic as it has grown my knowledge base of HIV and AIDS. And so I was very grateful. And so thank you so much for listening to my presentation, and I hope that you have learned something from my presentation as well as my paper. Thank you. Have a good evening.